Hello, my soccer universe, to a review of a weekend that reinforced more or less all the league leaders. I mean, wherever you look, it all went in favor of the current team in the lead, be that Liverpool, PSG, Bayern, Real Madrid, all going their way. Even in Portugal, it did the same. I'm wearing Monaco, not because they had such a great performance, but Akliouche scored probably the goal of the weekend, a wonderful overhead kick that you definitely should check out, but I forgot to mention it in my short review segment for Ligue. And I'm going to start this review in the Eredivisie, where we only had a handful of games. A truncated Eredivisie round started with third place Utrecht salvaging a 1-1 draw at Heracles with a 91st minute equalizer by El Karouani. Why was the round truncated? Because the Eredivisie wants to give some of their teams a break ahead of big European ties. So only two European teams were playing. One of those were, of course, PSV getting a 3-2 win over NAC Breda at home. Not a big result to talk home about, except that Hugh still turned around a deficit in the first half, and then there were 2 goals in stoppage time, with Pepe extending lead to 3-1 before Kostors were pulling one back. And with that win, PSV extend their lead on top of the table, but with a game more, of course. The other European team that was playing was AZ, freshly after beating Roma at home 1-0. They're losing at home to relegation-threatened Sparta Rotterdam 2-1. And it was a rather tough loss because they thought in the 93rd minute they got the equalizer through Meerdink. However, Verschuren then gets the winner for Sparta in the 95th minute. The Bundesliga weekend started with a surprising 2-2 draw between Wolfsburg and Holstein Kiel. Despite Wolfsburg turning it around early in the second half, they cannot get the win, and it's a little bit of a halt to their rise towards potential European places. And then it was a brilliant Saturday afternoon with tons of great games and all the top teams playing. And as we will see, it all went Bayern's way in a way as well. But before that, Augsburg scored 2 stoppage time goals, one in the first half, one second half, to get a 2-1 win over Heidenheim. Heidenheim in more trouble. Augsburg really moving now into mid-table, and if they continue that form, they might actually be pushing for more, because as of now they're only 3 points behind Wolfsburg. Then, after firing Nuri Sahin, Dortmund took on Werder Bremen, and the game very early on took a turn against them, with Schlotterbeck being sent off for a shove onto Marco Grüll. However, they got a 2-0 lead with a man down, Guirassy scoring 1 and then also taking a shot that was deflected in the second half by Friedl into his own net. However, there was most likely an offside in there that was not called and was not even seen by VAR. Bremen were really stunned by that one. It looked that Dortmund might be cruising. However, out of nowhere, Bittencourt with an absolutely brilliant shot gets Werder Bremen back into the game, and then Dux in the 72nd gets an equalizer. Then it's all Bremen pushing and having plenty of chances to get a winner. They cannot snatch one. It's only a 2-2 draw for them. Bayern, on the other hand, had a rather comfortable 2-0 lead at Freiburg. Harry Kane scoring early on with a thunderous shot, and then Kim Min-jae, rather controversially, kind of shoves a little bit the goalie and then heads it in the 54th minute. Bayern cruising, Ginter pulls one back, and then there were some nervy moments, but Bayern get the win over the line. With a 2-0 win over Stuttgart, Mainz are now only 1 point behind their opponents, who of course had to play in the Champions League in midweek, and might stay close towards the top of the table. There might potentially be Champions League in there, although I don't quite think it. Viper and Cassie scoring the 2 goals. However, most attention was of course on the meet between Leipzig and Leverkusen. Remember, in the second round, Leipzig handed Leverkusen their first loss after a long unbeaten streak. Leverkusen had a rather comfortable 2-0 lead, as they had early in September, with Wirtz playing out of his mind, dribbling himself through, hitting the post, Schick putting it home, and then he also assists Alex Garcia on the 2-0, although there was probably a foul on Raum before that as well. He also hit the post, and then Raum, with a very deflected free kick, gets Leipzig back into the game, like it was in September. And then Wirtz, still very much the star of the show, hit the woodwork one more time, but the longer the game went, the slower it went for Leverkusen, and a Tapsova own goal, and there was not even offside, that only makes it 2-2. This is a game that Leverkusen, like in the midweek, should have won, but they didn't get it off the line, and so it's now a 6-point deficit behind Bayern. In the evening game, Gladbach get an easy 3-0 win over Bochum, who remain rooted towards the bottom of the table. While in the duel of the 2 Europa League teams, Frankfurt twice took the lead at Hoffenheim, but twice Hoffenheim pegged them back and had even a goal disallowed. Loschek getting the equalizer in the 95th minute. And the last game of the round was the duel of the cult clubs, but also a duel against relegation. And St. Pauli really lifted themselves out of the trouble zone with an emphatic 3-0 win over the team from the capital. Round 23 of the Premier League was not short on surprises, and look no further than the secret top duel between Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth scores 5 on Forest that are unanswered, of course. Justin Kluivert really is in great form getting the opener, and Bournemouth a largely dominant team. However, it is in the second half that they really asserted domination, with Tara scoring a hat-trick. But the best goal was actually disallowed when Ouattara and Kluivert really combined nicely. It would have been a 3-0 in the 59th. The last one came then through Semenyo. Bournemouth, really one of the sensational teams. They have gotten points of all the top teams. Liverpool up next. Meanwhile, David Moyes in his 700th game gets a win for Everton at Brighton. Definitely not expected that one. The winning goal came through a Njaya penalty. Brighton really couldn't break down a sturdy Everton side. At the same time, league leaders Liverpool got a rather unforced 4-1 win over Ipswich. Notable, Mohamed Salah scores the 2-0 and is now ahead of Thierry Henry in the all-time Premier League scoring list, although you would have to include everything before 92 as well. Cody Gakpo also scoring a brace, as does Dominic Szoboszlai, only very late on grieves. Makes the scoreline a little bit more palatable for Ipswich. Bednarek may have given Southampton the lead, however still in the first half, Isak with a brace turns the game around, first with a penalty, then after an assist by Murphy, and Tonali also get back on the score sheet. Southampton really trying to beat the Derby County record. And then we had a typical Arsenal game away from home. They get a rather contentious red card. I think I could understand sorta, but I see it's also a little bit of a harsh one through Luis Skelly. However, with a man less, Arsenal do hold on and hold off Wolves, and then Joao Gomes is sent off with a second yellow red card. Calafiori then hits the winner for Arsenal as well. So rather gutsy performance by Arsenal, I gotta say, that keeps them in second place with a slight shot at overtaking Liverpool. Then in the big matchup between City and Chelsea, it really didn't start well for newly acquired Huzanov from Manchester City, who made a huge error to play the ball into Nico Jackson, who then assists Madueke to get the opener. Palmer and Madueke then really should have made it 2-0, but City got themselves back into the game, and it's Joško Guardiol who gets then the equalizer right before the halftime. In the second half, an absolute hilarious error by Robert Sanchez, who just goes out unmotivated. The ball goes to Haaland, who from far out, with good composure, gets the go-ahead goal for City, and then Phil Foden caps it off. Overall, a good performance after a dreadful performance in the midweek, and City staying in the Champions League places. Crystal Palace's unbeaten run also was stopped by Brentford. Mbeumo and Schade in the second half give them a 2-0 lead, and then Esse only late on Wolves won back. And then we had another stunner with Leicester beating Spurs away from home 2-1. Spurs really cannot catch a break. They had a decent first half, took the lead through a really nice Richarlison header, and then within 5 minutes after the kickoff to the second half, Jamie Vardy and Hel Khanous turned the whole game around, and then Spurs, all confidence gone, and cannot break down Leicester City, who, after having lost plenty of games, get a rare win. Probably still too little to survive, but we have to see about that. But did they not drag Spurs into a relegation battle? It is just awful what Spurs are going through. Aston Villa also looked a little bit tired after their European exploits. They had a 1-0 lead through Ramsey and actually were overall the better team in the first half. However, in the second half, West Ham came out, got the equalizer through a really nice Emerson header, and even thought they had snatched the winner through Paquetá. However, there was an offside in the build-up as well. More or less points drop. If you were to ask me, on the other side, Villa look a little bit like Newcastle last season. And lastly, United get a rare win, a second win in a row if you count the European win in midweek. However, it was an awful game at Fulham that was decided by a late and deflected Lisandro Martinez shot. Ever since the start of the new year, I observed two trends in Ligue 1. The first one is PSG might play badly, however the opposition that might be chasing them for a title plays even worse, and so it's more or less a given that PSG will win the title. And the same thing happened this round. PSG only managed a 1-1 at home to start the Reims. Kvaratskhelia starting, actually assisting Ousmane Dembélé for the go-ahead goal, but then former last player Keito Nakamura gets the equalizer in the 56th minute, and PSG cannot find a winner. And they extend the lead because OM managed to lose 2-0 at least in the last game of the round, with Guessant and Shaw getting the 2 goals. And now Nice is actually pushing also towards the Champions League spots. The second observation I have is that every week it seems Strasbourg have the best performance, at least to my model, and they again got a relatively big win, beating Lille 2-1 at home. Big loss for Lille with a second half comeback with Andre Santos and former Sturm Graz player Emmanuel Mega again scoring and getting the winner. Meanwhile, Monaco put an end to their losing streak, beating Rennes at home 3-2 with another Sturm Graz player, Mika Pires, just arrived, scoring the second goal for them. Nantes also picked up a point against the biggest team again, Lyon only managing a 1-1 thanks to a 90th minute equalizer by Mostafa Mohamed. And last place Montpellier are not in last place anymore. They get a second win in a row after beating Monaco at home. They go to Toulouse and win there 2-1 as well, and it's also a comeback win, Sagnan and Mama scoring the 2 goals. An Adnan Januzaj goal deep in stoppage time salvages a 1-1 draw for Las Palmas at home against Osasuna to start the La Liga weekend. The early kickoff on Saturday also was on an island, this time on Mallorca, and also featured a stoppage time goal. It's this time Bakambu who give Betis a 1-0 away win at Mallorca, and slowly you feel that high-flying Mallorca a little bit coming down to earth. But then the first big result of the weekend was Atletico Madrid 1, Villarreal 1. Gerard Moreno with a penalty gave Villarreal the 1-0 halftime lead. In the second half, Atletico really tried to come out, looked though a little bit tired. Samuel Lino gave them the equalizer in the 58th minute, so plenty of time to find a winner. But unlike in previous weeks, this time Atletico just cannot, and it's more points dropped in the title race. Sevilla and Espanyol also play out a 1-1 draw that really doesn't help anybody. While Kylian Mbappé is coming into his own at Real Madrid, scoring a hat-trick and thus extending the lead on top of the table at lowly Real Valladolid, who are one of the top favorites to go down again. Sunday then saw a late turnaround win for Rayo Vallecano at home to Girona. Michel is one of the big heroes of Rayo Vallecano, the current Girona coach, of course. But it was not a lucky return for him. Ndeka in the 80th and the 83rd minute scoring a brace that completely put the game on its head. Another remarkable result was Real Sociedad 0, Getafe 3. Getafe up until the point had only scored 5 goals away from home, and then they scored 3 within 15 minutes. Uche and the brace by Carlos Perez getting the rather remarkable result. As all the other opponents for this 4th Champions League spot also drew, Athletic Club probably can live with a 0-0 draw at home against Leganés. However, being stalled that much ahead of a big Europa League week as well might not have been the expected result. And then on Sunday evening, Barcelona completely destroy Valencia, who really look like a team that is about to go down, especially in this showing. Yes, Barcelona scored 4 goals on the first 5 shots. Still, you cannot get destroyed like that, and it could have been double digits as well. Frenkie de Jong in the 3rd, Ferran Torres in the 8th minute, already 2-0, 14th minute, Rafinha, who always seems to score these days, and then Fermin Lopez adds 2 more in the first half. It's then Lewandowski who extends it to 6-1 after Hugo Duro pulls one back in the 59th, and then an own goal settles it. Corberan's side are really looking ugly, and Barcelona also up and down. Either they win big or they have a disappointing result, and so it all seems to go Real Madrid's way. Monday evening saw another draw between Alaves and Celta. Celta getting the equalizer in the 66th minute. Just a few short weeks ago, I was dreaming of a 3-way title race in Portugal, with postpartum depression hitting Sporting, Amorim going to United, leaving them a little bit unprepared for that, and Porto and Benfica picking up the wins. However, this has now turned around. Sporting have stabilized, and Porto and Benfica are going on the skids. Benfica, after losing this really tough match against Barcelona Champions League, also managed to lose at Casa Pia 3-1, despite Di Maria giving them the lead in the 30th minute through a penalty. However, then Casa Pia scoring in the 30-minute ridden, Casiano in the 31st, Morera in the 60th, and then in stoppage time, Leo Volant giving them the 3-1 win. And so Sporting could extend the lead on top of the table to 6 points thanks to 2 stoppage time goals, one in each half by Trincao and Simões. Porto, on the other hand, had a really crazy draw at home to Santa Clara. That is high-flying Santa Clara, I keep repeating myself, who had a 1-0 lead. However, in the second half, it seemed everything was going against Porto. They were hitting the woodwork, they were creating chances, not playing greatly, but still much more the dominant team. They even got a penalty that was missed, and then Otavio gives them the equalizer. You think that Porto is pushing for the win, and they get another penalty. And again, Galeno sees his effort saved. Absolute madness, and AVB in the stands just couldn't believe what he just saw. And so with Santa Clara dropping points, Braga took on Boavista and got a relatively easy 3-0 home win and established themselves in the spot that they currently establish in the Portuguese ranking, meaning 4th place. And there you have it. I want to also add that Porto's manager has been relieved of his duties after another disappointing result. Porto a little bit in trouble. That ends my review of the past week, and please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like these, and I will talk to you soon about more things in my soccer universe. Bye! Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, here are some videos and playlists that you may enjoy too. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever something happens in my soccer universe. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye!